Nikki, and if you're here, you might be wondering what ADHD medication will do if you are autistic and ADHD, if you are a parent, if you are female, if you have trauma in your past, and just kind of wondering how it's all might fit together for you, and maybe wondering what the experience is actually like. I know that I was really afraid that I just assumed all medications, ADHD or anxiety or depression or anything, would make you feel like you were high all the time and like not in the world with everybody else. And I was pleasantly surprised about how it ended up being instead. I did these upcoming clips as just raw video diaries on the spot, including if my son was around. He knew that I was testing a medication and I might feel different things, and I was going to keep track. The very first clip that I think I made was really raw, emotional one for me, with a huge change that I experienced. And then I also peppered in a lot that were me stopping to take note of, what are the changes in my body and my mind and how I'm interacting with things, so that everybody could really understand in a useful way, including myself later. I would like to be clear just before we start that my experience started off actually as an I feel really high all day and it's nice in the beginning but exhausting in the evening experience, which is what I was afraid it would feel like. But as the days went on, it went down and down until now I feel, I would describe it as, I feel like I'm having a good executive functioning day. I feel like myself very, very much. So without further ado, I'm going to hop out of here. I'm going to let you have the video clips, and please, if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, leave them in the comments and I would be happy to let you know more information about the experience that I had. This is my unique experience. It's not guaranteed to be the one that you have. 30 minutes into the first time I've ever tried Viv for ADHD, and I have autism. I have trauma. I live in social housing, which, isn't designed great, and I was prepping vegetables, and I had a thought I've had 1,000 times of like, wouldn't it be great to live in, a more normal place where I could, choose to live somewhere where I can have an open concept kitchen and I can be prepping vegetables and be with my son while he's practicing his reading and eating breakfast. And I had to take this video multiple times because I couldn't stop crying. Because for the first time in my life, that thought wasn't interrupted, and there weren't 20 other thoughts saying, that's selfish, or this, or you need to be happy with things, or how hard it is. The thought finished, and it said like, yes, that would be nice, and you can do that, and it just seemed like it was actually possible for the first time ever. Yes.
And they read 3 books already. I think this one is Night, Go, and Going to Grandma's.
Nice. So, a lot of people ask things like, what does it feel like to be on a certain ADHD drug? And I think that's really hard for ADHDers or autism ADHDers to explain, because that requires interoception and mindfulness, which is not a strong trait of ours. So I've been working on those, so I thought maybe I could give some helpful feedback. My thoughts, my brain is totally quiet. The DMN is like off. I could make a creative thought, I think, if I tried, but they're not just like popping up all over the place. It might be like something gently comes up in relation to what I'm doing that's like, oh, this is a good idea, and I feel like I can put that idea aside for later and I will come back to it. Or my impulse control is way up, I guess, without the extra thoughts in my head. If I pick up my phone to say, I'm going to send one text message that's important or make one phone call, there's no other thoughts saying, you should do these 7 other things, and then all of a sudden I'm stuck on my phone, and my son's like, Mom, you're stuck on your phone. That's not happening. The having clarity of thoughts is incredible, because I think we understand our limitations sometimes, and when we're saying I can't and we have ADHD, people think we're making it up, but we're trying to say like, I can't make my brain do this long-term goal. And I know I can't, and that's why I don't feel capable, because I don't feel in control. And I totally feel in control. Body-wise, a stimulant raises your heartbeat, so I can feel that my body is warmer. Stimulant also suppresses feelings of hunger, so I had trouble eating a breakfast. Food doesn't look appealing, which is nice, because with the mindless chatter I can feel really, really snacky. I feel a little tingly in my extremities, which I guess is all the increased blood flow. I'm aware that, of the increased blood flow running through my face and through my heart, and it makes me glad that I have a breathing practice down pat so that I'm remembering to take deep breaths continuously without the like teeth clenchiness that I know is common if someone is having certain types of street drugs. But overall, I would say this is 10 out of 10. Oh, and the other cool thing is when I look at something, because I'm just in my task positive network, if I see a mess on the floor, it's like playing a video game and identifying like
I can do it. Just like I can do that. I can do this. Blah 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 blah. I can do everything.
yes, it's just like that is a mess that needs to be clean. I can stop and clean it from start to finish. Or when I looked in the fridge and saw a bunch of vegetables, my brain saw them and said, you know, this is a mini quest. Those vegetables should be pre-cut and prepped. The idea that I could be allowed to take this drug every day makes me feel like I could drastically change my life in a way that is incredible. And if this is what
every day.
this is what a normal person feels like every day, like when they're trying to interact with their environment,
Take
like
it every day. Take it every day.
oh my god, if you have ADHD and autism, it is no wonder that you are struggling compared to everybody else, because you are very much in a submarine while they are in an airplane. This is completely different interaction with life.
Take it every day.
And take it every day, yes. And right at 11 a.m. for me, I got a pang of hunger, and I realized that I was starting to have thoughts in my head again, like extra ones, the running background chatter. And I kind of figured, oh, well, this is it, it's wearing off, and that I should have, or that it was going to go away. My thoughts were starting back up, so like in an hour I'd feel like back to my normal self. And I went through an interesting process with that, because I let myself entertain the thought, because I find this is the easiest way to not make yourself feel like you're forcing yourself any one way or another. I let myself entertain the thought of, okay, how important was this first 4 hours to me? Like, is this worth it? Do I call up the doctor and say it only lasted for 4 hours, so like you get me an appointment in for a month so I can up the dose quickly? If I up the dose, will that make it last longer, or would it make it more intense for just that small chunk? And if it's supposed to last like 12 hours and it only lasted 4, would this be why someone would double up and take a dose twice in a day? And I wasn't going to literally do that, but letting myself have that thought to try and figure out what was going on let me see ahead of time, like, oh, that would be a bad idea, because then I don't know what would happen. I don't want to do that. But if I did that, I'd be great for half a month, and then half a month would suck. So in letting myself explore those thoughts, I got to take myself to the spot of, well, you know what, if it's wearing off now and it was only good for 4 hours, then we'll just say that these 4 hours at the start of the day are a wonderful gift that we're going to honor. We're going to make the most of them. But then, I still felt okay and better. I'm just going to observe and see how the rest of the day goes. If I, do go back to being me, or maybe it is going to stay at this, 1 degree lower, a couple degrees lower level for the rest of the day. And it really did. It was really, really easy during those first 4 hours to do a lot with my son and to stay incredibly calm and to redirect him and to do things we had been putting off forever. There were no barriers to anything I wanted to do today, is what it felt like. And if I wanted to play with my son, I could play with him. If we went out and I wanted to chat up a parent, I could just do it. With this, like, if I want to set up a business, a service-based business where I need to network, like, this won't be a problem now, because I do love people and I want to make a business that helps people, but talking about that felt difficult. It feels really, today anyways, it felt really easy. I was so incredibly in the present moment, especially at the beginning, that it was easy to just say, this is the situation. What do we do with it now as it is? It wasn't like, this is the situation and I want it to be something else. There was just no conflict because there were no thoughts fighting inside my head, and it was a beautiful thing that I think I've probably rambled about for too long. I didn't have to struggle with black and white thinking. I didn't have to struggle with forcing myself to do something. If I looked at something and wanted to do it, there were no barriers in my way, that there was no, I don't want to do that, or I don't feel like doing that, or I should be doing something else. whatever I looked at, whatever I chose was okay. Really productive day. We put up this thing. That's the one thing when I start losing my words, which is a normal problem I have when I'm sober when the sun goes down. We put up the shelf that I wanted to put up forever, and it was really easy to break it down into like the first step, and then okay, just the next step, what's that one, and then we get through it and it doesn't hurt, and that's neat. Last really cool thing that I figured out about being on ADHD medication, at least now while it's super strong because I've just started, is being on a medication that makes you a better version of yourself, lets you access a better version of yourself, ripples out to benefit everybody around you. Because I'm calmer with my son. I can help keep him on task because I have way more bandwidth, way more executive functioning than I've ever had in my life. If I can use the ADHD medication to have the consistency and put in the good habits that I so desperately have been trying to put into my life, and demonstrate those for my son and teach them to him, because I understand the why of why they're important. I understand how, but I would forget again and again and again and again and again. And that it made it hard. It was so hard because I was so forgetful, and I was not forgetful today. It was great. So I think that's going to help me raise a better son. Oh, and tomorrow will be exciting because I'm going to Toronto, and Toronto is a nightmare because autism and ADHD, and I can't filter out anything, and there's so many sounds and so many people and so much noise. But I'm going to be on my medication, so I'm wondering if it's going to be a very different experience than normal. So we'll find out. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble sleeping tonight compared to normal. We'll see what happens. And I'm giving up on sleeping. I'm on the couch. I have my cat. I've turned on the light and it's very bright. And apparently for the last hour I've just been lying here thinking thoughts. I would like to sleep. It's not a lot of thoughts. It's like one consistent, very creative, useful stream of thoughts. Today I took my pills at 6 a.m, so try earlier. There is still so much drug in my system that I can feel on a low level that I would be really tempted to not actually take it in 2.5 hours at 5 a.m. when I normally wake up. And we're taking a train, so we're going to be very far from home. So it's Nikki again. I just wanted to let you know that I would highly encourage you to go on to watch the video that's like the full first week of Vyvanse that I had, with the ups and downs and the solutions that I had to solve those ups and downs, so I could really level out, because I think that would be helpful if you experience it or know anyone who does. And I'm also planning on making a video going over how, if I were to talk to my past self who was about to start medication, what I would tell her in terms of, documenting, being prepared for how to spend her time and her morning routines, being prepared if she had a big burst of energy, being prepared for that up and down cognition that I experienced when I didn't understand my fatigue and hangry issues that I was having. So you might find that really helpful. I also think this is useful, and will be including in the video a link directly to the start, middle, and end of my first month that I recorded, so that when I talked with my doctor I could be very specific about the changes I experienced and how those changes, in my case, decreased over time. I think my ability to directly explain myself very clearly helped him understand that playing with my medication levels would provide a very real benefit. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and me sharing these very personal experiences, I would appreciate it if you would hit the like button. If you have any commentary at all, or something that you would like for next time, please drop it in the comments. I would love to help you have the smoothest journey that you can if you decide to try ADHD medication.